So at number 5, from Tennessee, one-trick pony, Mike Wallace, Jalin Hyatt. Mike Wallace is my comp. That's not the comp that we're going with. Rick had Jalin ranked 5th. I also had him ranked 5th. Josh, you had Jalin unranked. Where is he in your rankings of wide receivers after the top 5? Do you know?
He's like number 7, I think. I
Okay.
have Josh Downs and then Hyatt.
Fair enough. No, that's not bad. And just you mentioned Josh Downs, another name that just missed the top 5 conversation. Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma, who's a similar type player to Josh Downs. Those guys, as Rick likes to say, will be clustered together when we get to that portion of the pre-draft evaluation. Neither guy made this conversation. Both guys are going to get drafted on day 2, and both guys probably going to be really good. But Jalin Hyatt, Rick, we'll start with you. We talked to him at the Combine. Sees an opportunity when a player was injured to make the most of his 2022 season. You see those 15 touchdowns if you're watching on YouTube. Tied for second somehow in the FBS. I don't know who number 1 was. But your concern, maybe it's less of a concern, but the 1-year productivity. So where are you on Jalin Hyatt?
Yeah, my concern is I think he can be a good route runner. He runs a limited route tree. He's a vertical receiver. There's no question that he can get behind the secondary at the SEC level, which is probably the best athletes in the country playing back there. The concern I have with him is why, with all this ability, he has not been able to do it before. And then all of a sudden, no one really even heard about him in the beginning of the year. And all of a sudden, he goes out there and puts on maybe the best performance that a receiver had against an Alabama defense with what he did in that game. Then that caught everybody's attention. But concerns are, why is he only a 1-year wonder? Why hasn't he done it in the past? Because he still has the same ability, but something clicked in him. And if you draft him, are you getting that guy that played like he did the second half of the year, or are you getting the guy that's kind of been an underachiever through most of his career at Tennessee?
67 receptions in 2022. He had 41 receptions in the 2 prior years combined, only 4 touchdowns combined over those 2 prior years. And then, of course, he had the 15 touchdowns that we just talked about a second ago. Where are you on Jalin Hyatt, Josh? I know he's your wide receiver 7, but do you like his game, or do you have any concerns? Just one thing he does well?
Yeah, I like his game a lot. I think he's got immense potential. He would probably rank higher on this list if you were just looking at the potential. But right now, I don't think he's as well-rounded as some of these other guys. So I just had them rated a little bit higher. But a guy with fantastic speed, somebody that does have some elusiveness after the catch. So it's not like he's just this straight go route type player that's going to win at the catch points. He has a little bit of wiggle after the catch as well. So I do think he has the potential to develop and become something more in the NFL. We just haven't quite seen it yet to this point.
So, Rick, it's easy to say, okay, that guy can just add 10 pounds. But there's
no, it's not easy to say that. Some guys are who they are. They can't add 10 pounds.
Well, it's easy to say when you're sitting here. I was going to ask you.
Yeah, I saw you the way you ate last week on the road when we went on our tour. You could definitely gain 10 pounds a week the way you did.
So, Josh,
we're pounding meat. We're pounding. I had a healthy breakfast dinner at 11 o'clock at night at Denny's when we got into Columbus, and I seen him. He's got a side order of pancakes. He has sausage. He has bacon. He has like eggs. He has like hash browns. He's got other toast all over the place. Everything's flying everywhere on the table. I mean, I'm putting up a shield just trying to do this, not to get hit by something. It was unbelievable display of athleticism.
Thank you.
Of hunger. And of a guy that was very grouchy after having to land in Cincinnati and then drive 2 hours to Columbus.
Josh, worth noting, he put down the shield he had to put up to block the flying food to eat one of my pancakes, just so we're clear about that. Just so we're clear, just so we're telling the truth. But my point is, Rick, so when you're talking about a guy in the draft room and he needs to add 5 or 10 pounds or whatever, it's not just a matter of him going to Denny's eating a bunch of pancakes at 10 o'clock at night. It has to be good weight, number one, and number two, he has to have the frame to be able to put it on.
Yeah, and you have all these sports nutritionists there now and all your protein shakes and guys getting their specialized shakes before and after practice, but you have to be disciplined and want to do that. and to make sure that I'm doing everything, even when I'm not in the building, whether they say, hey, you got to have an extra meal here or do this here before you go to bed at night. Some guys just aren't disciplined once they get outside the building. So that would be something that you would have to really dig down and make sure that, and I know we're just talking about an underweight guy, but he's not that much underweight, but you'd like to add him 5 pounds. That becomes more of a concern. Like when we talked about yesterday with DeJuan Jones at Ohio State, when he is the other opposite way, because you don't know if he's going home after practice at night and eating 3 pizzas before he goes to bed.
Going to Denny's with me.
Next day. Yeah. Well, you wouldn't be, I would consider a candidate for a team nutritionist by any means.
Hey, have you ever had a player that just struggled to gain weight and you had to be on them about doing it and they weren't necessarily dedicated to it?
Oh yeah. You get it all the time. And it goes back to Hyatt here. Okay. Is he dedicated enough not only to improve his body weight and do everything on the field, but is he dedicated enough to improve on the field? Because he's just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
But that red flag to me, I can't get it out of my head, is that why, when you had all this ability, nothing? Why didn't you do it before? And that really, really bothers me a little bit. And sometimes you don't want to call him an underachiever, because that was a death wish for us, because he did have a very productive year. And then you go the other side and you may have the other half of the room saying, well, he's just maturing. He's just understanding what his ability is. And there was nothing but the arrow pointing up on this player, and he's going to get better, especially once we get him into an NFL building.
And when we talked to him at the combine, you got the sense that he seized the opportunity once he had it. And look, maybe it was the case that last year he knew he wasn't going to play and he didn't try as hard. And this is just me speculating. And then once in 2022 came around and Cedric Tillman got hurt, and he said, okay, I'm going to seize this opportunity. And he did just that. We don't know, but
if you're assuming that, and you said that in the draft room, then that's going to be, well, if he's not playing and is he not going to take it serious,
that's good. Yeah.
When he comes into an NFL team and trying to work his way up the depth chart at the receiver position.
So I gave you my Mike Wallace comp, and that's sort of lazy because it's straight line, one trick pony guy. But give me your unlazy comp for Jalin.
I went back to a player the Bears drafted in the 3rd round. I'm going deep, and then we signed him as a free agent at Minnesota, Bernard Berrien, who I think 1 year averaged 20 yards per catch, which was an NFL record. I put him, I don't want to know if you're going to ask me this, but I'm trying to do what Debo told me to do since he's our boss. Put him in Kansas City would be an ideal fit, because they lost their speed. They lost Hardman, right? He went to the Jets. Juju Smith-Schuster went to New England.
Yep.
So they've got Sky Moore, who has to step up. They still have MVS. They still have the kid that they traded for, Tony, from the Giants, but he's more of a gadget guy. So I can see maybe Kansas City taking a swing on another vertical deep threat, which they currently don't have.
I had a mid to between the middle of the first round and higher grade on him. So 2nd round grade.
Yeah, I think technically, if you're honest with yourself, I think he's a Friday pick.
Yeah, that's right. Josh, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree. I think the opportunity for him to get into the 1st round is probably slipping a little bit. Although I do think Kansas City is an ideal fit for the reason that Rick mentioned, which is they lost Tyreek Hill, they lost Mecole Hardman. Add a little bit more of that speed, some of that ability to get vertical and stretch the field for Travis Kelce underneath. Allow some of that underneath action that they've been using over the past year, really with all those gadget guys that they've accumulated.
Is there anybody that isn't a good fit in Kansas City's offense?
No.
Ryan Wilson.
I wonder how many balls I would catch in that offense.
Yeah. James William and Mary Madison.
That's it. Yeah, that's right.